Hello and welcome to the overview presentation for the Perfect Debt Solution, the #1 software giving financial power and opportunity to millions of people across the globe. What we're going to do today is give a little bit of an overview of the product and kind of how it works. One of my favorite phrases is that while the wealthy and the struggling are all playing on the exact same financial game board, the banks and financial institutions are playing chess on that board, but they are teaching, training, and coaching us how to play checkers. So what the Perfect Debt Solution does is it teaches you how to play chess just like the financial banks and institutions do. And so we are going to go over some chess moves that the Perfect Debt Solution gives in order to reduce your interest by thousands and thousands of dollars very, very quickly without changing any of your income, spending habits, or your lifestyle. Before we get started, I just want to go over the three things that you need for the Perfect Debt Solution to work for you and reduce your debt in a record time. One is that we have to have debt that you want to eliminate. Obviously, if you don't have a lot of debt, then this product isn't going to do a whole lot for you. You have to have income or a paycheck coming into your household, whether that's weekly, biweekly, monthly, or once a year. And finally, you have to have a checking account, savings account, or available credit that you can use to pay down your bills. So the Perfect Debt Solution works on 4 money-saving principles. Principle number 1 is interest accumulation. Principle number 2 is the interest float. Principle number 3 is interest cancellation. And finally, principle number 4 is the strategic payoff of your debts. So this is just a hypothetical client example. There's no way that I can give an example or an illustration that will fit everybody. But we're just going to say here that John and Rebecca Jones, let's say they have $5,000 a month in income. Let's say that their expenses are $4,800 a month. That means that their discretionary income at the end of the month is only $200. And this is their liability structure. Let's assume that they don't have any credit cards or student loans or any other kind of debts. Let's just say that they have a mortgage at a very low interest rate of 6%. I know that there's mortgages available today at 4 and 5%, and some people have lower interest rates than that, and some people have it much higher. But on average, right now in the United States specifically, we've got about a 6% interest rate. The payment on that mortgage, let's say this is just principal and interest, is $1,199.10. And of course, like most people, they have a 30-year mortgage. We're going to say that they have no credit card debt. If they had credit card debt, however, it would charge them 12.99%. Obviously, since there's no debt there, they have no payments, and credit cards are just based upon a daily periodic rate and don't have terms associated with them. So let's go here into month 1 and take a look at what the Perfect Debt Solution could potentially do for these clients. Here's that $200,000 mortgage, and of course we've got that $5,000 of income that comes in on a monthly basis. But what the Perfect Debt Solution is going to do is have them transfer the money in their checking account over to a savings account. And again, that's just the $5,000. And now what they're going to do is instead of using their checking or savings account to pay their bills on a monthly basis, let's say that they use a credit card to pay all of their expenses, gas, groceries, dry cleaning, including their mortgage bill. And that, of course, is going to be the $4,800 a month that they're spending on a monthly basis. Now what's going to happen is they are going to make their mortgage payment, right, off their credit card, which is going to reduce their principal balance by $199. The rest of that money all goes to interest, making the banks wealthy. Let's say that savings account gives you a 1% interest rate at the end of the month, which would be $4. And so now in savings you have $5,004. And again, at the end of the month, you have, or the beginning of the next month, you have an additional $5,000 that comes in on your checking account. But remember, we still owe $4,800 on that credit card. So what's going to happen is we're going to use our checking account to pay that credit card off in full before any interest charge at all is charged on that credit card. You have a 20-day grace period on all credit cards. So now we have 0% interest charge. We have $200 left in our checking account, and we have $5,004 in our savings account. And so now what's going to happen is we're going to transfer $3,781 back into checking, giving us a balance of $3,981, and it's going to leave us with $1,123 in our savings account. What is going to happen is we're going to pay that $3,980 directly to the mortgage company, driving down the balance of that mortgage in the very first month by nearly $4,000. So let's take a look at what happened. We had a new balance on our mortgage of $195,812 at the exact same 6% interest rate. All right, we have the $1,199 monthly payment. What we just did is we just canceled 18 months of that mortgage debt. So now we only have 342 months remaining on that debt instead of the original 360. The original interest that we were going to pay is $231,677. The new interest that we're going to pay on that debt is $212,938. We just got an $18,000 worth of interest savings on our mortgage within 2 months. 2 months of doing that, and that is it. So imagine if you continue to use that system, and you'll notice we didn't change their spending habits, we didn't change their lifestyle. They're not taking additional lump sum at the end of the month and slamming that towards their mortgage to get out of debt faster. All we are doing is the Perfect Debt Solution is going to teach you how to play chess. You're going to use the exact same money. You're just going to move your money around in a little bit of a different manner. Now, not everybody has the ability to pay their mortgage with their credit cards, and we understand that. And the Perfect Debt Solution can manage that through the algorithms. Again, this is just a very simplistic example of what the Perfect Debt Solution can do with just one mortgage debt, and that's it. So really what happens is the Perfect Debt Solution, it computes the absolute optimal way to utilize your funds that you're already making to pay off your debts and to cancel your interest to these banks. It sounds pretty easy. It's very simple. You just enter the information and you follow exactly what the Perfect Debt Solution does for you. It really is that simple. But behind the scenes, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars. There is hundreds of thousands of dollars in the program, but in addition to that, there's hundreds of thousands of lines of code, and all these math algorithms are hard at work. And really, ever since banking started, banks use these same algorithms, but they use them to make sure that your money works for them. Well, the Perfect Debt Solution uses those exact same algorithms to teach you how to think and act like a bank to get out of debt in a fraction of the time. So let's say that you had multiple different debts. Let's say you had a $200,000 mortgage at 5.5%. So you have one choice, one debt that you can pay off. Let's say that you had an installment loan of $10,700 at 8%. Now you have two choices, two different ways you can pay off your debts. But when you add a third debt in there at $4,800 at 24.99% store card, like a Best Buy or Sears card or something like that, you suddenly have 6 different choices of the best way to get debt-free. You add in another credit card at 14% with an $8,000 balance. Suddenly you have 24 choices of the best way to get out of debt. And let's say you have a fifth loan, an automobile loan at 6.5% with a $20,000 balance. Suddenly you have 120 different ways for you to move your money around to get out of debt the absolute fastest way possible. This is called factorial math. What this means is the more debts that you have, the more complicated your financial situation becomes. So if you have money left over at the end of the month, or if you have extra dollars, or if you're trying to use a spreadsheet or something like that to figure out the fastest way to get out of debt, if you had 14 different debts, let's say you had multiple credit cards, multiple car loans, maybe more than one mortgage, if you had 14 different debts, there are 87 billion different ways that you can pay that debt off using factorial math. So really you have a choice. You can use the Perfect Debt Solution, which will show you exactly the fastest and the most efficient way to get out of debt, or you can try to figure out up to, or even more than, 84 billion different possible combinations to get debt-free. So our interest cancellation is achieved by that algorithm called factorial math. Our strategic payoff function bases its entire calculations upon the following characteristics of your debt. One is the amount owed, very, very important, the length of your debt, the interest rate associated with that debt, and then how the minimum payment on that debt is calculated, whether it's a daily periodic rate or whether it's like a mortgage where it's an amortized loan. So regardless of how your loan is structured or how your loan interest rate is structured or how your payments are structured, the Perfect Debt Solution can accomplish teaching and showing you the fastest way to be debt-free.